Okay, dear friends in Dhamma, we are going to start the second Dhamma discussion. So as usual, Chandrika is ready with the written questions. So we will start the session with written questions.
Avasara Bhante, we have received 6 reports today. Report number 1, Thero Saranai. I am still a novice to meditation and trying to add meditation to my daily routines. Walking meditation. Walked around the Buddha statue. At first I noticed the butterflies and different plants that were there, but gradually managed my concentration and realized that I was not getting distracted by the noise, stroke, butterflies, etc. Sitting meditation. My concentration on my breath was much better today. I felt that I didn't have any thoughts for a few seconds on and off, within brackets, or maybe I fell asleep. I came in with a lot of stress yesterday. Those issues came into my thoughts many times, but today I realized that I am much more relaxed and had not gone back to those thoughts, although the issues are still not resolved. Theruvan Saranai.
Yeah, I think the last statement is the most important one. So it is not that we are able to find solutions for everything. Rather, we will keep the questions aside and maintain a relaxed mind. So everybody has various different kinds of questions, problems, troubles, whatever it is. But rather than taking a question or problem, whatever it is, again and again and thinking about it, so you can think about a particular issue, and if it is possible to find a solution, if not, you can keep it aside. So I can remember that Ajahn Brahmavanso giving a very beautiful example for this. Suppose that I am holding this cup for 1 hour. What do you think? About 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours. Then a huge pain going to happen in the, the arm. So, but it is not a heavy thing, by the way, isn't it? It's a simple thing, but we are all every time holding it when I am having a drink. But if I am keeping it for a long time, holding it for a long time, it gives a lot of trouble. So what you need to do? Just keep it aside and maybe relax, and after some time again you can take it. So you can drink it. I mean, you don't need to hold it for a long time, but you can drink it. So likewise, so problems also like that. So what we have, the solutions are also very temporary. Don't think the solutions what we are giving is going to be a lasting and everlasting solution. Once the next government comes, that will abolish. Everything collapses, everything topples. So the solutions are very temporary. So maybe today you are happy that I was able to give a very good solution, but tomorrow you are being unhappy because others didn't accept it, or you could have found another solution, a better solution. Because for these mundane life situations, I don't think we can find a best solution. Always there may be a better solution. Whatever than what we have seen, someone can suggest something else, or we ourselves can come across another solution. So likewise, many possibilities are there. So we can't say that we have come to the, the definite answer, the ultimate answer, something like that. But we can be happy for the time being. Yes, there is a solution. I am implementing that. This is the best I can found for the time being. So likewise, we are simply going through. So ultimately, you may understand, okay, it's just flowing with the water and riding with the wave. So life is always ups and downs. So we are simply riding with the wave and trying to maintain a kind of a balanced mind. So not that all the solutions are now, all the problems are now solved, but still maintaining a balanced mind amidst all this turbulent water. As we discussed yesterday, so once we reach, the middle of the sea, so there are no ripples, no turbulence, so we are simply being there, something like that. So Buddha himself has gone through many issues, maybe some issues through the monks, through the nuns, through lay peoples, from various other issues. So many things are there if we consider Buddha's life. but he navigated through everything like that. So therefore, as you have correctly mentioned, so even though problems are there, I am able to handle them, or I am able to maintain a relaxed mind. So that is where we need to go through, because sometimes what happens is we take the problem so personal. So I have to participate. I am the one who is responsible. I am the one who is going through it. So likewise, I am taking it too personal. But once we are going through it in a different way and understand the Dhamma, so we are not that taking it so personal. And even once we found a solution, good that we have found a solution, but not being elated, thinking that this is the best solution. Rather, for the time being, this is a good solution. Yes, let's implement it. And if someone is suggesting a new one, still you are ready to consider it. Something like that. So therefore, that kind of an attitude, I feel, is more diplomatic and easy to go through, rather than strongly holding to a particular view. So likewise, actually sometimes Bhante Dhammajiva used to say that we have to become very much like water. Wherever you go, you behave like water. So what's the difference in water? It can take the shape of the vessel. Can simply take the shape of the vessel. Simple as that. So we need to adjust. Rather than we going to change the whole thing and make the things circular instead of square, or making the things square instead of circular, whatever the way we think. So we adjust ourselves. That would be the most least frictional path. So as you know, probably you have seen that in Nissarana there's a nice poster in the meditation hall, that with little nun. Yesterday I was clever, right? Yesterday I was clever, so I want to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. Same thing. Yeah, we'll go ahead.
Report number 2, Most Venerable Bhante. Sitting meditation. The breath became subtle, was aware of the rising and falling of the abdomen. There was a warmth and engulfed the entire body along with a ringing stroke vibration. Situations, achievements and people that were placed on a high pedestal began to disintegrate as if all that was crumbling down. The void was peaceful with clarity. I have a tendency to ruminate, especially during difficult times. At such times, I make that the object of concentration, within brackets, that being whatever the issue I am ruminating on. Is this wise, or should I solely concentrate on the breath? Much gratitude and respect. Theruvan Saranai.
Yeah, sorry. So basically, if it is possible for you to recognize the rumination and see how rumination happens, and without promoting it, as a result of your observation, you find out that rumination is reducing and you are able to simply watch it, and ultimately the whole rumination stops, then that's the best approach. We don't need to jump to the breath. Instead, there should be a way, or rather, as we are progressing, so breath we don't need. At the beginning, we need the breath so that we have something to give as an object to the mind. Later, as we are flourishing, improving, progressing, so later you find your confidence. Now you don't need the breath. You can handle the situation. You can look at what are the things going on in your mind. If it is a lustful thought, you can simply watch it. If it is a, say, angry thought, you can watch it. As you said, if it is rumination, still you can watch it. So as a result of this observation, so you are not participating to the rumination, by the way. You are not promoting it. You are not participating to it. Rather, you, like an outsider, you are simply watching it. So once you do that, there's a kind of a distance being maintained, kind of a separation between the ongoing rumination and the observing mind. Ultimately, rumination doesn't have enough strength, energy to sustain, and ultimately it will disappear. So this is the best approach. So that always finding some another mechanism put into yourself to the body and or putting yourself to the breath, whatever, all are, not bad things or not bad approaches, all are possible and those are also effective. But directly confronting the thoughts, confronting rumination is more, you can learn a lot from that. Little risky at the beginning because if you don't have enough courage or enough mindfulness and clear comprehension, you might even get carried away with the rumination. But once you are confident, try that. No problem. Yeah.
Report number 3, sitting meditation. In the beginning, I get distracted by my thoughts very often and I feel back pain. I focus on breathing again, but my posture is uncomfortable. After some time, I can accept back pain better and thoughts are not coming that often. I focus on the tip of my nose and it feels like I was watching from inside of my head towards my nose. Walking meditation.
Yeah, one moment. So that perspective or the perception that watching the breath while being inside of my head, we can say it's very much like internal. So there are 11 possibilities sometimes mentioned in the Dhamma. What's that? Atitanagata Pachuppanna, Ajjatta Bahidda, Olarika Sukuma, Hina Panita, Yandu Dura Santika. Likewise, 11 facets are there, 11 possibilities are there. So when we consider some kind of a phenomena, it is a past phenomena. It has happened already. It's a past phenomena. Or else it's going to happen in the future. Or currently it is happening. So there are 3 possibilities with respect to the time, temporal aspects. And then internal and external. So you are having the perception that I am watching it while being inside. Or on the other hand, you have the perception like I am far away, I am little away, I am outside, and while being outside I am watching it. That's a Bahidda. And on the other hand, Hina Panita. So that means the perception you have is that the breath is really beautiful, very subtle, very soft. The Panita part, the soft part. Olarika, that Hina means that you don't like to see it, but still you have to see it, but with little bit of displease that you are still watching it because it is not that pleasing. The breath is not that pleasing. Those are the 2 other possibilities. And then Ajjatta Bahita, Hina Panita, Olarika Sukuma. Olarika is somewhat gross. Breath has become gross and it's not that soft. Things are little turbulent like. But the Sukuma means very subtle, extremely subtle. Breath has become really subtle. You have to maintain a very careful attention in order to recognize that subtle breath. So those are the another possibilities with respect to breath. And Dura Santika, very much like say you are looking very close to the breath, almost very close, or you are a little far away and watching it. So these are all different possibilities that Buddha explained with respect to all the different phenomena. So what you have just explained is very much like internal and external, Ajjatta and Bahidda. You are either you are very close to it or you are being inside and watching it, and maybe it can vary in the future. So don't think that this is the best thing or this is the only thing possible. But there are many possibilities are there. That's why I just explained it. So be ready to accept all those possibilities. So just have a very open mind, open attitude, and just be an observer. Let the breathing evolve as it like. So you are ready to accept whatever the way it presents you. Currently it presents like you are observing like being in the inside. Maybe tomorrow you might feel that you are far away and you are watching it while being outside. So likewise different possibilities are there. Just open yourself to all those possibilities, accept it whatever the way it happens, and continue your observation.
If the yogi needs to discuss anything, please raise your hand.
Yes.
Walking meditation. After sitting meditation, walking feels easier. I feel more awake and have a more sensitive way of feeling the ground. When I go into walking meditation directly, for example, after breakfast or lunch, I am much more distracted by my thoughts. Theruvan Saranai.
I didn't get you. Can you
She says she feels easy. I feel more awake. Sorry. After sitting meditation, walking feels easier. After sitting, I feel more awake and have a more sensitive way of feeling the ground. When I go into walking meditation directly, for example, after breakfast or lunch, I am much more distracted by my thoughts.
No, these are helping each other. Walking helps the sitting, sitting helps the walking. They are interdependent, helping each other. So once you have a very good, calm, relaxed sitting, then you are bringing that relaxed, mentality to the walking, so that your walking also become very smooth. On the other hand, once you have a very good walking, you are bringing that attention, that develop mindfulness to the sitting, then your sitting become more smooth. So likewise, you can understand, these things are helping each other. So all these possibilities. And not only that, assume that you are maintaining, even during the daily activities, as much as possible, fair amount of mindfulness, then that also contributes for your practice. So that's why we are trying to promote maintaining very much like continuous mindfulness as much as possible, without being completely distracted, completely allowing your mind to go ahead with the proliferation. So if you are maintaining fair amount of clarity in your mind, then much useful.
Report number 4. Venerable Bhante. During walking meditation, I became aware of the fallen leaves on the walking path. I saw that as a sanya. Then I realized that I had an equanimous feeling towards that sanya and the thoughts associated with this experience as sankhara. My question is, does one aggregate trigger the arising of the next aggregate, or do all 5 aggregates arise at the same time, or it's just the thinking process that makes it appear like one aggregate follows the next? Theruvan Saranai.
Yeah, all aggregates are working together, and by the way, one can promote another one, but then all 5 are happening again. All are instantaneous. Say Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, all the 5 aggregates, they manifest momentarily. And then it carries the momentum to the next moment. Again 5 aggregates are happening, initiating momentarily. Again that momentum being carried to the next moment. All 5 aggregates are rising and passing away again. Again the momentum carried to the next moment. So likewise. So they may have interrelationships. Say for example, as you simply said, so you have seen something and it promoted some kind of thinking. It can happen. So through the seeing, there is a possibility of promoting a particular, say, perception, or maybe a particular series of thoughts. Or you assume that while walking you got your leg being hit to something. Then very much like the event is related to the body, that means the form aggregate, but it can promote thinking. So likewise, whatever the interactions that we go through, it may interact with many others, and it's a kind of a chain reaction where all 5 aggregates manifest at this moment, and it carries the moment to the next moment, and one may be prominent, and the one kind of an aggregate has come to the front, it promotes another aggregate. So it's a series of events are going on. It's good, by the way, that you are asking this, because you are thinking in that line. So that's the important thing. Rather than that I have something, I am the one doing it. Now you are looking at from a different angle. Okay, aggregates are happening. Aggregates are being promoted. One aggregate is promoting another aggregate. Very good. So that's what we need to see. It is a kind of a, non-personal, but based on the causes and conditions, things are happening. It's not I am doing or someone else is doing. Then we are taking to the personality view. As we discussed yesterday, the personality view, the Sakkaya Ditthi. Instead, how we are seeing things now are quite different. Aggregates are manifesting. Due to various causes and conditions, and they are carrying the moment to the next series of aggregates. They are carrying the moment to the next series of aggregates. That's what all happening. Now, that's why, very beautifully mentioned by the Buddha, say someone is praising you. So Buddha is asking to look at it that I have seen these aggregates long time ago arising and passing away. So I have that understanding. Currently, for these aggregates, now there is a sound coming in. So already I have given up. There is no person here. So what do you think? Can he become conceited? Can't. The person can't become conceited because he has already seen. What I have seen before is the 5 aggregates, how these aggregates coming and going, arising and passing away. I have seen that while in my sitting session. Thoroughly I have seen that. So, but right now I am not seeing it, by the way, but someone is praising me. So, without taking it personally and being conceited, so you are applying that insight, what you gain through while in the sitting during your meditation session here, so that the defilements are not arising, because you are making use of that insight. I have already seen these are merely 5 aggregates. It is not a person. These 5 aggregates is the one going through this process, even currently. I have seen that properly past during my session, during my Vipassana process, Vipassana practice, and that's an insight. But now I am using it to cut off the defilements. Otherwise, what I am doing is, so I am taking it personally here, and I am being praised, I am being elated, okay, I am the one doing it best, so you create a self. Again, the self-view happens. So likewise, these insights have to be very practical. It is not that we develop it here at Kalalgoda and then forget it all and go home and become the normal, typical, Amma and Tata and, struggle with everything. Rather, this has to be internalized. So how are we going to handle our even daily activities, even daily troubles with the light of the insights? Then we can say, okay, we are using it effectively. Otherwise, we are, being here, we are in a kind of an artificial state. Rather than you are being practically using the developed insights practically. So therefore, we can't expect that we have the same strength or same intensity of all the insights everywhere. Say while at home, while at office, or while traveling by a vehicle. So you may be in a typical conventional world, but these insights has to be somewhat, stored, remembered. So once defilements are coming, you are ready to take the sword. Sword is nothing but the insight. So that's why insight knowledges are typically given a similarity to a sword, or to a weapon, a very sharp weapon. So the defilements can be cut through. So likewise, these insights are very interesting, and how effectively are we using them in our daily life, so that we can minimize the suffering, minimize the entanglement, and maintaining a clear mind, clear vision, something like that. Because the defilements are not coming here. While at Kalalgoda, maybe possibilities are there, I am not denying it, but less. But at home, at office, maybe while you are going through a three-wheeler, while at a train, or while watching the news, while talking with another person, then very vulnerable. Many possibilities are there for the defilements to arise. So are we using the gained insights, what we have learned, what we have understood on those occasions? So those are the important things. That is the place that we are using them. That is the place we need to practice. Very interesting. Everything is very practical. Yeah.
Report number 5. Theruvan Saranai, Venerable Bhante. As a lay person, I always start my meditation looking at my breath. After few minutes, I feel very calm and peaceful. It's a very comfortable situation. Can wait long time. Question number 1. Is this the moment I have to start Vipassana, or normally most of the time in day-to-day life by looking at things? I see the impermanence, within brackets, physical things as well as thoughts. Is this Vipassana?
Yeah, I think the second one is more into Vipassana. Just watch. We can't deny even the first case. Say when you are watching the breath, if you see how it is changing, how it is evolving, and it is not a single breath, it is a series of little minute breaths, and that even coming and going, arising and passing away, that is also Vipassana. So in a way, that's why, I mean, we have to be skillful to include everything into Vipassana. That then will be, I mean, very effective, very successful. So rather than recognizing, okay, this part is not Vipassana, this part is Vipassana, then we are, categorizing, no, that is not the situation. Rather, how about using every event of our life from that angle? So that's a very interesting story that you have heard about this, that how Venerable Patachara, how she became an Arahant, probably you have heard. And some other nuns are actually praising Patachara for giving them very interesting, very intelligent instructions. So there are Theri Gathas recited by other nuns praising Patachara. Okay, I went with a lot of trouble to Venerable Patachara, and she taught me Dhamma with respect to aggregates, with respect to sense bases, some deep Dhamma. So I was able to realize the Dhamma. So some others are praising her. But how Patachara herself became enlightened? She simply became enlightened because after the Pindapata, and she washed her feet and in order to wash her feet, put some water, one cup of water, and that ran to some extent, some distance. She put another cup, it ran to another distance, a different distance. Assume that it has ran to some more distance. She put another third cup, it ran to more distance. Any insight? Can you imagine? Death of the people. Yeah. So you can remember how she has gone through the situation. Her children passed away in their young age. Her husband passed away, maybe husband and brother passed away during their youth, isn't it? But mother, father passed away during their old age. Now she got that insight through the water. So these are very little things. I mean, you can imagine, I mean, she's not in a deep samadhi. She's not in the sitting session. But these little things are very effective. She has used that properly. Insights arisen. She attained enlightenment. So likewise, I mean, how effectively we are looking at the things. So mundane activities. So someone can simply ignore that and forget it. But the yogis who are very effective, I mean, sometimes these insights, these little things may give a very deep insight. And another situation, very weird one, by the way, that Nagasamala. Venerable Nagasamala is a meditating monk, and he was going through the village Pindapata. By that time, one dancer was dancing in the middle of some place. Many have gathered to enjoy that, and people are shouting and whistling and all that is there. So Venerable Nagasamala is going through the Pindapata. He also looked at what's really going on. Now he saw this young woman half naked just dancing, and others are clapping and enjoying and all that. What happened? Lust arisen in Venerable Nagasamala, or no, it didn't happen in that way. Rather, he thought the disadvantages. He understood the danger. What's going to happen to those people, and how indulging those people are in these sensual pleasures, and what a kind of a side that they are going through, and how much they are attached to this sensuality, and how these situations are really, completely block them, completely attach them to this whole samsara. So the danger is what he has seen. Adinavo patura hosi. So the danger, the various disadvantages, various consequences of these things, he understood, he attained enlightenment. So that is why, I mean, these little things are triggering sometimes in a different way. So if it triggers in that way, then very helpful, very beneficial. So therefore, we can't say that every time that we have to be in a very precise, very, rising and passing a very precise. So possible, not a bad thing. But sometimes differently, while you are simply traveling, simply watching something, and whatever the sight, whatever little event, you have seen it from a different angle, and it has triggered kind of an insight. Those are possible.
Question number 2. Can you please... Same
that.
thing, number 2. Can you please explain more about no self?
No self. So no self. So we'll discuss this during the Dhamma sermon also. Actually, at the first, we can say first you need to be a good self, a good person. There you are believing in karma, you are doing something good, avoiding all the bad things. So you being a good person. So we don't need to think of no self being a bad self. So first you need to be a good self. Because otherwise we are denying some aspect of the Dhamma. In Sammaditthi, Buddha talks about two sides. The first side is this mundane kind of Sammaditthi, where you need to understand, okay, there are some ethics in this world. I have to be sort of respect to those ethics, respect to those moral standards, and I have to do something good. I have to avoid all the bad things. I have to respect the precepts and all that. So you are becoming a good person. That is the first thing. On the other hand, as you are continuing while being a good person, you may feel that I deserve something more. There may be certainly more advanced things. Buddha has taught that. How about looking to them? I am deserving them now to understand because I am a good person now. So you feel that kind of a positive atmosphere developing within you, promoting the possibilities. So otherwise what happen is if we ignore that moral part, then our minds are not respecting us. Even if we are practicing, our moral standards are less, we ignore that, and sometimes our conscience start accusing us, putting us in the kind of a bad position. You are not suitable for this kind of an attainment, you are not suitable for this kind of a spiritual advancement, you did this thing, you did that thing. So that is where the internally certain conflicts are there. But on the other hand, when we are respecting ourselves, when we are respecting others and maintaining a fairly good conduct, so we feel kind of satisfied, we feel comfortable, we feel that I am maintaining good moral standards, others are also being helped because of my way of life. So likewise, you get a more positive atmosphere within yourself. Now you feel I deserve something more. So then you are further practicing. Now we can talk about the supramundane kind of Sammaditthi. So there actually we are developing further about the wisdom, various Yoniso Manasikara and all that. So one of those teachings are the non-self, where by going through the insights, particularly that when you understand all these different phenomena, it may be external, it may be physical phenomena, it may be various mental phenomena. So they are happening because of various reasons, various causes, and to those causes I have very little control. And it is not a mere theoretical understanding, but we need to observe and see their behavior. So that's the important thing. I mean, we all can read books about non-self and come up with a kind of an understanding, but it is still superficial. But what is important is that, say, you are observing the body. Particularly, say, the Dhatu Manasikara meditation, elements meditation helps us to understand this. So actually, I thought of covering that today in the Dhamma sermon. So this particular sutta, what we have selected, also talks about it. And whatever the insight, maybe impermanence, maybe unsatisfactoriness, maybe non-self, or any of these can promote the freedom in the mind. So if we simply consider a little bit of the non-self, so once we see how non-governable are the things, So you are seeing the body. Now we are getting old, or we sometimes get sick. We didn't expect, we didn't want. We want every time to be happy, every time the body to be healthy, every time the body not going to be going through any kind of aging, but we want to be happy. But things are happening on their own way. Various other conditions are there, to which I don't have much control. So likewise, so all these physical phenomena even are beyond our control. They are dependent on their causes and conditions. And I have very less control. By understanding all that, so you simply understand, okay, they are depending on these, the causes and conditions. So your understanding build up based on that, what we call the paticcasamuppada, the dappaccheta. So things are fairly conditioned or fairly dependent. So you are getting to that sort of an understanding. So rather than I am the controller, someone else is controlling, rather you feel that there are various causes and conditions. It's a fairly dependent process wherever it is. So fairly dependent. So I have very little control. So you simply give it up. You let it go. Give up. Something like that. As a result of that, the mind can freed. So they are what we call as a sunyata, the emptiness. So once you thoroughly understand the non-self, so mind gives up and mind become freed. No burden, no grasping. Mind being freed because you understood the non-self, and there we call it as the emptiness, the sunyata. So likewise, some interesting stuff is there with respect to the non-self. The important thing is, so we can't immediately talk about non-self without, we can talk, of course, we can read, no harm. But we can't apply those theories immediately to the mundane things. Say you can't say that you hit someone and say that don't worry, there is non-self. There is no self there. So don't worry, you don't put a court case. No self here, no self there. So these theories you can't use like that. So that's why I said, first of all, we need to be good people. We have to respect the moral standards. First of all, we need to establish in the mundane kind of samadhi. Then we can work out being in this level. So you can start working out what are the more advanced theories, advanced teachings of the Buddha. Yeah.
2 more parts here, Bhante. Third question, can you kindly explain about the last moment of Anathapindika? What Venerable Sariputta explained to him?
Yeah, he explained non-self. To Anathapindika, actually, Venerable Sariputta mentioned, don't keep your mind at any place. So many different ways he explained. Very interesting sutta. So basically his teaching is particularly related to the vijnana, to the consciousness. So you know that the consciousness has to associate either the form aggregate, either the feeling aggregate, either the perception aggregate or the formations aggregate. Now Venerable Sariputta is telling, don't allow your consciousness to establish on the form aggregate. Don't allow it to establish on the feeling aggregate, not the perceptions, not the formations. That is one way of teaching. And further he mentioned, when you see something, don't establish your consciousness there. Once you hear, don't establish there. Smell, not taste, don't establish. Touch, don't establish. Thought, don't establish. How about eye? Don't establish on the eye. To the ear, don't establish on ear. Nose, don't establish on nose. Tongue, don't establish on tongue. Body, don't establish on the body. Mind, don't establish in the mind. So where is he going to establish? Nowhere. Very deep teaching. So a typical person can't understand. So if you have been practicing for a long time, particularly the Vipassana, and you have some learning about the Buddha's teaching, probably you can understand, but others fully get confused by listening to these kind of teachings. But what happened interestingly is that when this teaching was given, Venerable this Anathapindika started crying. Why? Because he haven't heard this kind of a profound teaching before. He fully understood that. That's why he was crying. Not that he couldn't understand, rather he fully understood it. So he started crying, Bhante, I was associating the Buddha, associating other monks. Unfortunately, I couldn't hear this kind of a profound teaching till today. Then Venerable Sariputta is now actually very interesting situation there. So when he started crying, Venerable Ananda also was accompanying Venerable Sariputta. And so he thought, so Venerable Sariputta is asking not to establish any place, so this householder is not capable of doing that. So he still wants to establish somewhere. So don't worry, Sudatta, you just establish yourself somewhere. So that was the attitude when Anand. Then this Anathapindika was telling, no, I understood the whole teaching. It's so deep, so profound, and it's so valuable. So, but this is the first time I am hearing it. So that's why I couldn't hear this before. That's why I was, I came to tears. It came to my tears. I couldn't hear this kind of a profound teaching before. And then Venerable Sariputta is telling, yes, householder, these kind of teachings we are typically shared among the monks, among the, the ascetics, but not much given, shared among the lay people. Then actually when this Anathapindika is inviting Venerable Sariputta, Bhante, there are people, lay people who are capable of understanding even these deep teachings. So please share all these. It's very interesting. So Anathapindika is a very wise person. And he sometimes have discussions with some other religious groups. And he answers them very profoundly. And sometimes he come and report to the Buddha. And they are not merely, the Danadayakas. We sometimes have the wrong attitude about the Anathapindika, thinking that he is always, giving, that's all he knew. No, he's a very wise person. And he was capable of convincing others with some deep, profound teachings of the Buddha. And he sometimes come and even report that what is the discussion happened between him and some other ascetic group. Very, very interesting. So he's a very wise person. And so this kind of a very deep teaching was delivered to Anathapindika at his deathbed. Yeah, very interesting part.
Can you please explain how to see Nama Rupa as Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta, especially the Nama?
Yeah, that's why, what we are doing in the Chittanupassana, particularly the Nama part. We can now, Nama Rupa, different categorizations are there. You can include even feelings to that part. So I think you are referring that. So body, physical things we consider as the Rupa, and the all other four aggregates are considered as the Arupa, immaterial aggregates. So through Vedananupassana you are seeing the impermanent nature of the feelings, and through Chittanupassana you are seeing how thoughts are coming and going. So the consciousness aggregate, how it is manifesting, and how different intentions are happening. Chetana, the volitions are happening, again fairly close to thoughts, and how sometimes the perceptions are also happening. So all that we can look at in the Chittanupassana. And some further growth happens at the Dhammanupassana. All five aggregates are further revisited and recognize how fleeting they are. So the four Satipatthanas help you to understand the impermanence of all the five aggregates. So name and form is nothing other than the five aggregates. So the form aggregates is thoroughly understood, investigated during the Kayanupassana. All other aggregates are being thoroughly understood during other Anupassana. So like that. So the four Satipatthanas are fair enough for you to investigate, do the experiment.
Question number 6, last one. Theruvan Saranai. Dear Bhante, can you please explain about Shushka Vidarshana Bhavana? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this terminology happened recent past, thinking that, you can immediately start Vipassana meditation without going through some formal samatha practice. So what they promoted was some labeling technique, noting technique. Every time you do something, you have to note it. Seeing, touching, lifting, opening. Seeing, drinking. Like that. So everything you need to note. You can't miss any event, so you have to note. Each and every event you need to note. Because otherwise mind get distracted, because you don't have enough samatha practice. So noting is being used as a alternative to the samatha practice. So everywhere you need to note. Noting happens as a kind of an observer. Each and every event you need to note, and continuously noting, and that's how it is ultimately evolving. But our approach is little different. So we don't encourage yogis to do that kind of strenuous noting. Rather, at the beginning, yes, you can do a little bit of noting, but you develop samatha. Develop in the sense it is not, we say it is samatha, but almost samatha. Now say you are walking. Your foot is touching the ground. And assume if it is right leg, so you are noting it as right. And if it is left leg, you are noting it as left. Left, right, again distracted, again left, right, again distracted, again left, right. So likewise, as you are continuing, so slowly, your distractions become less, and your attention is kept on left and right, onto your foot. And ultimately, your mind get concentrated. Your attention is fairly restricted to the walking process. And now, probably you can stop noting left, right, or lifting, moving. You don't need that kind of a noting. Now you can do it with a silent mind. So that is more advanced than continuous noting. So you all know that. So continuous noting is little troublesome. So you may come up with very stressful mentality when you are continuously doing the noting. So therefore we don't promote that kind of strenuous, continuous noting everywhere. Rather, what we promote is, once it is necessary, you make use of it. But slowly, once your attention is fairly developed, once you are able to maintain your attention continuously with certain phenomena, so you ignore noting, now maintain a silent mind. So then you can go deeper. So therefore, Shushka Vidarshana is the approach that we are taking with the continuous noting, and ultimately, by the way, distractions are cut off because of the noting process, and you are able to establish certain amount of mindfulness then and there, each and every moment, and ultimately you can see the things. So this kind of approach is kind of encouraged in the Mahasi tradition. We also gain certain amount of influence from the Mahasi tradition. We take the good parts, but we can't say that we are 100% adherent to that. Yeah.
Is that the same for the
mic? Switch on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the same? Is it related to Panya Vimukti, Chetu Vimukta, and Ubhe Vimukta?
Can you repeat?
Is that something related to that
Panya Vimukti, Chetu
Vimukta, Panya?
No, actually, Cheto Vimukti is different. Cheto Vimukti actually you can gain even through the samatha practice. You can say the Panya Vimukti is not merely depending on the labeling, not merely depending on the noting. Rather, Panya Vimukti means that you are liberated through the wisdom. You don't have the capacity to attain various other samatha attainments. No, not necessarily. He may gain certain amount of samatha aspects. Not necessarily that he can get into the samatha, arupa, jhana and all that. Certain, now even here when we are practicing, a certain amount of samatha related development is there. Otherwise we can't continue. Say if you are practicing anapanasati, mindfulness on breathing, say if you should be able to maintain your attention continuously for 50 breaths, 100 breaths, something like that. So if you count, you can understand, okay, now certain amount of concentration is developed. So as once you are confident only, we encourage, okay, now you see the subtle details. We promote a little bit of penetrative kind of investigation. Then we are slowly including or incorporating the wisdom part as well. So now not only the concentration, now the wisdom also get involved, and now we are growing with the all 5 faculties, something like that. So now, but we are not in jhana. So very much like some amount of concentration is there, but we can't say we are in jhana. So samatha jhana, by the way. Now, by the way, once you are continuing, assume that you are able to develop certain amount of insights, and that is being developed, and you are able to maintain your mind unattached, and you have seen the defilements, started processing them, started cutting them off. Assume that someone has attained the arahantship. Assume that now he is panya vimutta, but not have the capacity to attain quickly to the jhana. So therefore, panya vimutto means he has completely cut off the defilements, asavas, but not having the capacity to get into the jhanas. So that is how the differentiation comes. Ubato bhaga vimutta is the one who is capable of having the both. Yeah. Okay. Everybody, ubato bhaga vimutta.
Yeah. This is something to do with 11 ways of looking at 5 aggregates,
right?
Especially Rupa part. And my experience when I was doing walking meditation, I feel that 2 legs are moving. It's not mine, or I don't know whether it's somebody else's. So that can that be related to Bahidda? And there's another part. It has something to do some relation with the reducing Sakkaya Ditthi also?
True. No, actually Sakkaya Ditthi, we are gradually fading off. We can't say that Sakkaya Ditthi is there for the 100% immediately cut off to the middle, to the 0. Not like that. It's slowly fading off, and ultimately it may be, taken out completely, something like that. So that's why in the Kayanupassana, so we can discuss today's Dhamma sermon. So various aspects, options or various strategies Buddha is teaching to cut off the Sakkaya Ditthi. Say one way about the compactness view, the Ganasanya. Another way, the continuity, what we feel, that continuity we going to understand, penetrate. And then how things are being operated, what are the causes, conditions. So likewise, through the development of the wisdom, the Sakkaya Ditthi is cut off step by step, something like that. So as you said, seeing that the simply body is walking now, simply below the knees are now operating like a little movement. So that's a kind of a perception that we are getting. And that's a sign that we have forgotten about all the other conventional unnecessary stuff, because our minds are filled with so many stuff. So much of other conventional, perceptions, garbage is there in our mind. So it's a matter of de-learning all that, unloading everything, and so you are attuned to very simple kind of a perception. So your body is now walking. But you don't have a perception that what's the time now. You don't have a perception who am I. You don't have a perception of your name, your gender, your place of situation, and what's the time and all that. You don't have any perception. What you know is very much like rowing a boat. You can see, how it is through the simplicity we are touching the depth, not through the complexity. Once your mind is fully crowded with all that information, I am so and so, I am in Sri Lanka, the time is this, longitude is this, attitude is this, blah, 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 so many things, and can you penetrate the thing? Can't. So the teaching takes us to the complete simplicity. Say, for example, now if you read this Chula Sunyata Sutta, so that is the approach Buddha is telling. Okay, once you come to the monastery, so you have to forget about all what you have associated at home, at the city. While being at the city, you have a lot of other perceptions about the kings, about the rulers, about the city, and about the environment. Say, in today's terms, maybe today's tax files and many things are there. So once you come to Kalalgoda, please forget them all. Be in Kalalgoda. Kalalgoda also has some problems. Some problems are there. You can remember that. Don't worry. So in order to remove that, now you need to put your attention to the body. Now you need to get rid of the Kalalgoda problems. Now you put your attention to the body. Body has 4 elements now, by the way. Now we are basically taking the 4 elements. Now, while being in the 4 elements, now probably you are interested in one element, which is most prominent. By taking your attention to one element, you are forgetting another 3 elements now. Forgetting 3 elements, discarding 3 elements, but you are only now considering one element. So likewise, it is a discarding of unnecessary details and coming more concentrated, more focused onto a simple one thing. And now you are seeing deeply how it is processing, how it is arising and passing away very quickly, and you are well concentrated there. Now you can't find out who you are, where you are, which country you are, what's the time you are. Nothing is there. So what you see is simply, say, arising and passing away with some subtle detail. There the insights are possible. So likewise. So here, as you said, probably we can call it as internal. What we are observing as internal, everything else has become external. That's another way of explanation. What is you are well focused under your scrutiny is only taken as the internal. Beyond your observation, out of your observation are all external. That's another way of looking at it.
That's how you related with Adhyatma Bahidda.
Yeah, Adhyatma Bahidda. Yeah. Yes, please. Can come forward.
Bhante, I would like to know that, is there a particular point or a state that you need to pass in samatha meditations to switch on to Vipassana?
Yeah, typically it is mentioned as the neighborhood concentration. The Upachara Samadhi. Where, now say for example you are practicing using Anapanasati. So you are able to see in-breath, able to see out-breath, able to see in-breath, able to see out-breath. Now again you distracted. Spend 10 minutes completely distracted, again came, in-breath, out-breath, in-breath, out-breath, again distracted. Not yet. Still not capable of immediately going to Vipassana. So still we are, developing. But later you understand, okay, now I am able to maintain in-breath, out-breath, in-breath, out-breath, in-breath, out-breath continuously. Say 50 breaths, continuously 50 breaths, considerable amount. One after the other, you are fully observing each in-breath, each out-breath, each in-breath, each out-breath, continuously for 50 breaths. After 50 breaths, say a little distraction happened, a short distraction happened, but you return quickly. Later, as you are continuing, okay, you are able to, at a stretch, you are able to catch, say, 100 breaths. But after 100, assume that you get distracted, short distraction, but came back. Likewise, as you are developing, as you are stretching yourself to say 100 breaths, 200 breaths, something like that, there you get, okay, now no distractions at all. And breath also has become very subtle, but you are able to maintain your attention even with that subtle breath. Not kind of a gross breath, but a very subtle breath. You can't even perceive whether it is the in-breath or out-breath. Even that level, it is subtle. But you are not being distracted and you are not being fallen asleep and you haven't shifted your attention to something else either. But you are able to maintain your attention continuously, carefully with this subtle breath. maybe you can assume a fairly you are in a neighborhood concentration. But you can stretch it even further, say even like assume that the breath has disappeared. Even breath has disappeared. Still, if you are able to maintain your attention there without being distracted, then what we call it as you have attained the faculty level. Samadhi Indriya. Samadhi Indriya is typically defined at that level, where even your object is lost, completely faded away, but you are not being distracted. You are still looking at the same thing without a particular object. Whatever your focused object has completely faded away, disappeared, but your attention is still maintained there without being distracted, without falling asleep. You are there. So that is the Samadhi Indriya part. If you are able to do that, certainly you are capable of now starting Vipassana. Yeah. But some other definitions are there also for the neighborhood concentration. Some people define with respect to the, when you are practicing Anapanasati, giving more prominence to the Samatha aspect. At one time you come up with the nimitta, concentration sign, and the now sign is there with some different colors. Still you are not in the neighborhood concentration, but you are continuing to observe the breathing, and then the sign become more very much like transparent or luminous and very bright, and it become more aligned with the breath, and now you start watching it. Now it is typically called as now you have reached the neighborhood concentration, upachara samadhi. Yeah.
You mean to say that the samadhi is well established, particular unshaken.
Exactly.
Right.
Unshaken kind of samadhi is necessary.
Yeah.
The continuity is there. For a considerable period of time, you can focus your attention with a particular selected object, because that is the requirement for Vipassana. No? Now you are going to observe feelings. Different feelings are there. Now you need to pay attention to that particular feeling, and it is changing now. It's a changing phenomenon. You can't get distracted. Suppose it's a painful feeling. You can't get distracted. Rather, you have to have enough patience to carefully observe that feeling continuously for a long period of time. Then only you can understand some reality, real behavior of this feeling. So that's the requirement. That's why we need certain amount of focus attention to maintain for a long period of time, so that this is changing, but you need to maintain your attention consistently. Something like that. Now actually, when talking about the Vipassana, another skill is necessary. Assume that this feeling completely disappear, and another feeling has arisen at another place. Now you need to have a skill being developed to shift this attention to this place. Your attention being placed here has to be shifted to a new place. So that skill, that transferring possibility has to be developed. That's why we are developing in this walking practice. That's where the walking practice is so important. During the walking practice, you are not continuously maintaining your attention on the breath. Rather, your attention has to shift from one place to another place very quickly. So you are developing that skill, how quickly I can concentrate onto one phenomena, maintain there for a considerable period of time, then shift it to another place and maintain there for another considerable period of time. That's why the walking meditation is so important.
Even I sort of read a book today, Ajahn Ka, Meditation. It says that basically samatha is the foundation part of that, and if someone just skip that and go into Vipassana, it may not
successful. Definitely, because that's a kind of a prerequisite.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that we have to attain the supreme level of samatha attainments, jhana and all. Not a must.
Yeah.
But you can, at least you need to have the neighborhood concentration, the upachara samadhi.
Yeah, and further it says that you don't need to worry about Vipassana, because when the samadhi, when a person who sort of reaches to samadhi level, the Vipassana can start.
Yeah. Because once your mind is concentrated and you maintain a kind of inquisitive mind, little bit of inquiring mind, you can see the phenomena. It is not that you change phenomena. phenomena naturally changing. You don't need to do anything. You need to fairly focus your attention and maintain the attention for a considerable period of time. Then you can see it.
Yeah. So in that case, can it say that the analysis of feelings and observing feelings is the sort of a core of Vipassana?
No. I mean, that's one part.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a broad subject. This one stage.
Thank you.
Okay, we have spent almost 1 hour. So if it is there is no more questions, then we'll wind up the session and we'll have the Dhamma sermon at 4 p.m. Thank you very much for participation.